Welcome to my podcast, From Divorce to Divinely Designed. I am your host, Michelle Wright, a spiritual mentor and guide for women navigating the full arc of rebuilding a life after divorce. Whether you're in the middle of the hardest chapter, opening your heart to love again, or rebuilding a blended family, you are in the right place. In this podcast, we explore how this is not happening to you, but how it is happening for you. Let's begin. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're going to be talking about how do I shift? And I recognize that we have been shifting at many points throughout our life. We have these shifts coming out of high school and perhaps going into post-secondary or going into our full-time work. We have the shift of moving out of our mom and dad's home into our first apartments or homes. All of those are big shifts. They really are. I even continue to look at now the shift into retirement, from working full-time into retirement, which I love calling my fulfillment era. It still is a difficult shift. I'm in between two worlds. What is happening in this shift? First of all, the shift has a lot of unpredictability, and our nervous systems don't like that. Our nervous system likes to be able to predict, based on past experiences, past behavior, what is going to happen in the future. And as soon as we shift into these new environments, new jobs, new experiences, our mind starts to have cognitive overload. It just starts to really sort through as many different iterations of what could happen, all of that spiraling what if, and usually in a negative sense because it's trying to keep you alive. So it does not move you into positive what ifs. So you have this cognitive overload is what that's called, that continual resurgence of your mind just going over and over again. And then you have a nervous system also tied into this mind that is putting you on high alert. So it's putting cortisol, adrenaline into your body at such a profound rate. You will actually have it impact you physically in some way. Sleeping too much, lacking sleep, eating too much, not eating enough. You might impact your digestive system. It might impact your skin. Maybe you're going to get hives. Maybe you respond with eczema. Different things. Your body keeps the score, and it is responding to all of what is happening in your mind, in your nervous system, and energetically. And so how do you make this shift? How do you survive through it? I know I've talked about the smaller ones. And I think for me, when I look back, my divorces were some of the biggest shifts. And choosing to reclaim love was another big shift. And choosing to blend into a family. Those were huge shifts that I took. And there's a beautiful card in Colette Baron Reid's The Wisdom of the Oracle deck that it has in between worlds. She has this flamingo and it's black and white on one side, and on the other side it's all color. And that's what it can be like. You have one foot in one world, one foot in another world. And you're trying to navigate it. Your whole nervous system and mind wants to keep you safe and alive. So they're going to have you navigate it with fear and anxiety because they don't want you to die. And then we have this other layer, this layer of emotions. In all of those, I was fearful, I was anxious, I was terrified, and I was going through huge emotions. There's a grief that happens, especially in divorce. This grief of what was. You entered into a contract with your partner. And within this contract, you planned a future. You set up your daily routines, your yearly routines. You set up the norms, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. And all of a sudden with divorce, it is over. It is done. Even if it takes a long time for you to get to this process, that's what was really interesting. I knew it was over, I would say a year or more so before it was actually over. And when I actually took the stand and did it and said, this is it took me a long time to heal. And I kept on saying, it's okay. It's okay. Like, I'm going to be okay. I'll just start, dating again. I'll still, all these things that I did when I was in my teens, before I was married, before I had 2 children that I had to support, before I was in a career. So my coping mechanisms, my identity completely shifted. My house shifted. I still had this house. He was not there, but that was a huge shift. I was a single parent. All of a sudden, a shift of how do I pay for what I have to in my life and for my kids' life? How do I do that? How do I go to work and support all the activities of my children as a single parent? So these are some of the practical shifts. Now, if you haven't heard me say it, I want to say it very clearly here. I'm going to be talking about a shift in my life energetically and spiritually. That's how I'm going to be speaking about this shift. I did need to talk to a lawyer to make sure that I had all my ducks in a row on a legal basis for myself and my children. That was important. So if you're still in this stage and you're wondering, where do I start? If you haven't reached out to a lawyer, that is very important for everyone involved. Lawyers help you when you're emotionally unable to distance yourself to make solid decisions. And that's their job. And that's why you collect a team. Another piece on this team, if you haven't, is a family doctor, talk therapy. For myself, I recognized I was going through different aspects of depression, different aspects of serious trauma that was coming up from different places. Talk therapy was essential. And I say a doctor, a professional that you feel you can talk to. So if you're getting into depression and through your talk therapist, having another person on your team as a doctor, is there some way that they can help you if you need it at that level? What is the professional team you have in place for yourself? Because that's so important. What is the spiritual shift? Once that's in place, what is the spiritual shift you need to start doing? And it's interesting because you have to, in between worlds, move 1 foot from the past, and so you can have 2 feet in the future. You have to look at how you want to move forward. And it's not easy. So let's go back. One of the things with the nervous system is that it is firing. It's your ego. It's firing there to keep you safe. It's so that when you're going down the road and something jumps out, you can react immediately. And there are probably times in that you have needed this response so that you reacted for yourself and your children to move in a positive direction. But you do not necessarily need to be at high alert. If you do, this is not the avenue. You need to seek professionals for safety. This is spiritual. And so you need to be able to calm your nervous system. Why is that essential? Because once you calm your nervous system and you put your 2 feet into the new world, you are able to now really change how you are connecting with this new world. If you're in your body and you're calm, you start to have different sensations. You start to be able to have glimpses of what bliss, joy, a future might look like. But it's not going to happen right away. What you need to do is you need to start somatic practices. And you can look up different ones that might work for you. Just Google those and you can see. Some of the ones that I've used is meditation. And I really like guided meditation. So I looked at different apps that had guided meditation, and they really helped with the words guide my mind and my body into a place of calm. And from this place, I could feel what safety in my body looked like. I was taking deep breaths. And we know with our brain that as soon as we take deep breaths, deep belly breaths, that all of a sudden it calms our nervous system. It just calms our responses. And so just doing that throughout the day, I would need to actually set a timer throughout my day just to check, how am I breathing? And was I breathing deeply? And then I would breathe deeply. There are lots of watches that people have, just going through those breathing. They have them for 5 minutes, just going through breathing, getting you to be in your body, taking deep breaths that feed it. Because from here, what it's doing is once you're in your body, you can start seeing, feeling, holding the emotions. Once you're in your body, you allow yourself to grieve. You allow yourself to cry. You allow yourself to feel anger. You allow yourself to feel desolation in your body. And it's holding this, working through it. I did try and block it all. I tried to numb it all with TV shows, with eating, with different types of activities. Some people use alcohol. I tried to do everything. And I realized that to make the shift, I needed to calm my nervous system and be present. Work through. And that is something that I needed to work through, is to just be present in my emotions with self-love, with compassion, and realize that I wasn't alone, that I was normal. And if this is the first time you're hearing that, please know that. In divorce, you're in deep grief. You've just had your life obliterated. And this huge hurricane storm shift everything. And your emotions are just erratic and difficult. So the more that you calm, you can hold your emotions. And then you're going to find that through time, and this is, you have to teach yourself to do this. I had to set a timer to breathe. Then I had to set a timer at night. For me, I love to process with a journal. So here's my journal, and I just write. I breathe, I connect. I love incense. I love quiet music, guided meditation, and then I just dump. I just dump everything. I'll just write and write and write. They call it inspired writing. They call it automatic writing. If you set a timer for 1 minute, 5 minutes. I don't set a timer anymore because I just write until I dump it all. It helps me hold it. It helps me process it. And now, how do I shift my mind? Once again, it's similar to the nervous system. With my mind, I have to recognize that my mind is beautiful, but it is not always telling me the truth because it can be hijacked by my nervous system. My mind, we can also call the ego at times, is there once again to keep me safe. So it's going to spiral out of control, do the complete what ifs. And I can't believe it, but in my younger days and in my divorces, I actually believed this spiraling anxiety was essential for good things to happen in my life. It isn't until later that I looked at trauma responses and I understood trauma responses through my own talk therapy. I realized that practice was actually not an effective way to deal. So you have to treat your mind like a toddler or a dog or just an instinctual uh, an instinctual human. It's just that part of you. And you have to say, nope, 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 nope. Because when you're spiraling, you have to catch it misbehaving. I also had to catch it misbehaving with horrible self-talk. I would say things in my mind that I would never say to another human. And yet in my mind, I would say, like, I can't believe you did that. That's so dumb. Blah, blah, blah. And I would just have horrible self-talk that would help me spiral backwards. I had to stop that. I had to change my mind and my thinking. So first of all, cancel, delete, edit. That is a card I pulled from Doreen Virtue's Angel Cards. Essential because in my mind, I started to catch myself in my self-talk. Cancel, nope, delete it. It was not true. And edit it. Edit it into the fact that I was this beautiful human going through a horrible life experience. It sucked. It was hard. I was working hard in my career, and now I'm a single mom with my whole life obliterated. That is hard. There is no way you're going to walk through this journey, and it's going to be easy. My love for my ex-husband, it's not like a tap I could just turn off. I was so used to that body, that person being a comfort, even though I knew it wasn't over time, and I knew I needed to leave way before I did, it still was. So I'm shifting, and my mind is going crazy. I had to train the self-talk, cancel, delete, and edit. The next thing is changing my what ifs. My what ifs, when I looked into the future, were always negative. And it's the future. So the truth is, you have a 50-50 chance of negative or positive if you're going to work that way. And think of life dualistically, you can be negative or positive. So I trained my mind. Whenever I had, what if it doesn't go this way? I would stop, cancel, edit, delete, and then edit. What if, and I would say the positive affirmation of that, the positive version of that. What if it works out well? What if I go to this party where I'm now a single person with my kids and I find new friends? What if it goes well? What if positive? The third thing that I needed to do was to reframe. Reframe my mind from victim consciousness. This is happening to me. Woe is me. This is happening to me. It is unfair. It is unjust. And I'm going to tell you, it is unfair. It is unjust. No one should live through this. And no one should live through the heartbreak and the pain and the sadness. It's unfair. And you did nothing to deserve this. That's the truth. But staying in that victim consciousness does not help you. It does not. A good friend of mine, my beautiful Suzanne, she would say, sitting in your dirty diaper isn't going to help you. She would say that to me. She'd say, Michelle, you have to shift out of it. So what do you have to shift out? It's happening for you. That's the reframe. This divorce is happening for me. Really hard to get my mind around at first. I started with some of the teachings of Carolyn Meese and sacred contracts. And it's happening for me because of different contracts that we create in our lives so that we can learn as souls in this human experience. Interesting concepts. It allowed me to start thinking about that. How is it happening for me? I began to be curious. What are my triggers? What can I heal? What can I release? How can I continue to grow and expand? One thought, one feeling, one moment at a time. This is not quick. And that's the hard piece. The shift, the divorce appears quick. You put in the papers, all of this, all of a sudden, it's like it's quick. You're shifted. This hurricane, this tower moment is quick in appearance. The shifting as you move through is not. So as I worked through those 3 different ways, I found myself spiraling upwards towards healing. And it's important to think of a spiral staircase. And the reason was for me is it's because I would revisit that negative thought again. And I would think, I'm exactly in the same spot. I haven't shifted. But it's spiral, meaning, you know what? I did revisit it, but it's shifted. I've spiraled upwards. I'm in the same thought, but now my response is different. Now I'm able to come back quicker. I'm able to reframe. I'm able to breathe. And I'm able to use these practices to help me. And so I recognize that as I'm spiraling and growing, it seems like it's the same, but it's not. I'm slowly shifting my foot over into this other world. And I'm responding to it in a different way. And I'm starting to have a different relationship with myself. As I breathe, as I create this somatic meditative practice, I recognize what my voice looks like. And now another big spiritual shift that I took was similar to Carolyn Meese. As a soul, I came down here. I also have this belief that I have the divine, the universe, God, creator, this larger force that I am connected into. It can also be the collective of all of us through all humans throughout all time. And I'm connected into that energy. I also have the belief that I have a spirit team. And that spirit team are angels that are around me that take care of me. And I've seen evidence of that throughout my life. Angels have kept me alive in different situations. I get guidance again and again to help me with small things, big things. I get messages from my spirit teams, from my animal spirit teams, from the flora and fauna spirit teams. And so I believe that there is this ongoing communication. Now, one of my first shifts to do this was to use cards because I didn't yet have that language, that lexicon in my mind. And so the cards helped me to track my energy, and they helped me to move forward in my thinking. So as you heard, I used the Doreen Virtue cards. And my very first tarot deck that I really used to help me make this shift was Colette Baron Reid, The Wisdom of the Oracle. I loved that deck because it was very beautiful. The art was beautiful, and the guidebook was essential because it talked about the general meaning, the meaning when it was upright, and the meaning when it was in protection. And so it helped me in sorting out my emotions, my thinking, my feeling, and I would journal on it. Every day I would pull cards. I would either pull one card, what is the energy of today as I was learning it? And how is that connecting to me, to my body, to the messages I'm getting? How is this working together as a communication system? And then I started to pull cards 3 at a time, and I would ask myself, what is going on in the first card? What is hidden from me? And what is my next right action? And so I started to journal on those. It helped me clarify my thinking. It helped me shift my perspectives. It helped me connect and trust my intuition and my heart. Slowly, over time, I have a drawer full of journals. And these are the ones I've gotten from dollar store, Costco. It's not because I love to just have a journal that I can write just one thing on a page. So I don't want it too beautiful that I would feel bad if I'm not writing beautifully. I'd love to just put everything out. And here is where it needs to resonate with you. This is your shift. This is your life. This is your movement. I've given you some ways forward. I've given you practices that helped me make the shift. And now for you, what are you going to start with? What is that first next step? And even for this, I wanted to pull a card. So I used the Tao Oracle. I wanted to use this one because this Oracle deck is known for transitions. So I use this deck to look at transitions deeply in my life. And it's 19 approach. So you can see there's a doorway, a light, and just a beautiful garden going outside. And it talks about the approach. These are the words that go with it. I read them to you so that you can think about how they resonate with you. As you're making this shift and moving in this direction, how you approach it is important. It's talking about advancing, a warm reception, prosperous conditions, increased influence, hopefulness, lightening up, an arrival. How are you creating an approach that's going to help you in your shift? I've given you some ideas. Make sure that you have a professional team that you've accessed for those aspects of your life. And now for this spiritual journey that I needed to go through to really help me move forward. I was stuck in it for 10 years. And so if you can learn some of these spiritual, energetic ways that you can move forward, it will help you. Throughout this podcast, I've given you some different ways that you can set up this approach for yourself. They're just the beginning. They're the tip of the iceberg. There's a few that you can start to implement. You choosing which ones will help you as you shift over into this new life will be very important. It starts to set up who you are, your big rocks, how you're going to move through the world. If you're looking for free support, I'm here on the podcast. I'm on my Instagram, michellewright.co, for Monday, the Sacred Portal, where I pull cards. If you're looking to go deeper for yourself and you want to look at how you need to move forward and what's important, we can do that through a clarity session. And it's in the link in my bio. Or you can go to my website at michellewright.co. I want you to give yourself a break. This is difficult. This is challenging. There's no one way forward. There's no right way forward. It is your spiral of healing and becoming and learning how to live your best life. I'm here for you. Reach out. Until next time. Reframe. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you. Thank you for being here today. If something in this episode landed for you, trust that. It found you for a reason. If today's episode moved something in you, share it with a woman who needs to hear it. That is how we find each other. You can connect with me on my website, michellewright.co, and on Instagram at michellewright.co. And if you're ready to go deeper, a free connection call is the first step. Because this is not happening to you, it is happening for you. Until next time.